Hey, it's me, Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude, coming up on 11 o'clock in the morning on the 7th of August. And I'm here to talk to you all about the thunderstorm threat facing British Columbia this weekend, coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, we've got a pretty good run coming, and we've had a pretty good run. Southeastern BC especially has been taking a lot of lightning. Well, it's looking more and more like the Vancouver Island area could see some more. So the coast mountains are looking good. It's going to be a wider spread series of outbreaks. We got dry conditions and high temperatures and low humidity, and fires are going to run. This is bad news.
There it is. This is bad news.
My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on!
Wow. I'll watch the video later.
Water.
They dry mop in this.
Currently, the fire danger in British Columbia is not as bad as August have been, but we got lots of very high still out there. The caribou is starting to catch up now. It's starting to dry out a little bit more and more, and we've had some down weather that hit the caribou especially hard, and it's taken it longer for it to recover itself to aggressive fire conditions. But that will not last long, I don't think, right? So big time improvement in most of the prairies, maybe not so much for southern Saskatchewan. Ontario still, and through Quebec and out to the east, still looking pretty dry, and Northwest Territories. I think we're going to stay in that more or less that danger rating for at least the next little while. We have that thunderstorm threat today that does include Vancouver Island, does include the coast mountains that run more or less up towards Bella Coola. There's a guy walking by my house juggling, just walking down the road juggling. We got special air quality statements in some parts of British Columbia right now. We got heat warnings going on up the coast. So Bella Coola right now, areas like that are kind of sitting near that low 30s in the daytime heat there. So pretty hot for Bella Coola, pretty hot for coastal sort of regions. North Thompson also looking at low 30s for them as well. And we got to go up to the far north, up to Fort Nelson. We're looking at pretty high weather still. So heat warnings for Fort Nelson. It's been going on for them for a long time. And the fire danger rating is not going to get any better for our friends up north as it stays very high in the Northwest Territories and even pretty high into the Yukon. Heat warnings for Fort McPherson. Daytime temperatures at 28 and 34 degrees. What the fuck is going on in the north? It's like, it's just been, the bar was set not that long ago where it's like, okay, 30 degrees can happen near the Arctic Circle, and now it's been a pretty regular thing this summer, especially last year as well. That scares the shit out of me. As you can see, our big ridge covering up all the way to the Arctic Circle, basically, keeping everything very warm. And then we're going to see, there's some instability coming in. There's some instability. Jet stream takes a little bit of a dive down. Not really enough to totally change our weather story that much. Enough to fire up a lot of lightning storms. So we'll get to that in a few minutes here. And so that's a concerning setup. I mean, not only do we have a little bit of a risk of thunderstorm today, we're coming into a pattern where it's going to become more and more widespread. More and more widespread. So here we go. Today, Thursday, we're looking up into Vancouver Island, the Strathcona area for sure, South Vancouver Island, up and down these coast mountains. So maybe as far south as Whistler, you're going to see some of that, and then moving up the coast mountains, up past Bella Coola, up towards even the Alaska Panhandle, trying to get that far north at least, into the interior up north. These look sort of isolated, but then you look at southern BC and Thursday, it looks like we're probably going to see a pretty good event again along the Rockies, again that southern BC stretch. So that's one thing we're watching for sure. The thing is, it was never Thursday that I had circled on my calendar. It was Friday, and we see possibility of widespread thunderstorm outbreak all across southern BC, right? So these are concerning looking images, considering the fire situation we're already in, that low pressure sitting up there in the North BC, firing up, triggering thunderstorm activity all across, all over. So we are looking at Friday being one of those days where the 9th of August, where we're going to have some significant lightning activity. We had some good runs this year where things have been mostly pretty good for fire activity, but we seem to be getting worse as we come into August. That's almost like an old school BC summer. Sunday will again maybe see one kick off into the Vancouver Island for sure again, and then up the coast mountains and up the Rocky Mountains. So big time thunderstorm outbreak pattern. This is continuing, right? coming into another pattern where we're going to start seeing more and more starts every day, right? And Monday's looking pretty extreme as well. Here we go. Already at 7 in the morning, we're going to see some bubbles waking up already. I think early day start for Monday. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and maybe even Tuesday. Widespread thunderstorm outbreak in British Columbia. Lots of new fires going to start. Looking like there's going to be no region, except for maybe the northwest, very northwest corner, that doesn't seem to see some of this fire starting weather. So we have convective available potential energy on Thursday up into the coast mountains. So we can see some of these storms up there be pretty strong, right? Some of the storms down by Vancouver could be very strong if these Cape values are, what we see. So that's concerning, is that not only are we going to see some thunderstorms, we're going to see some pretty active ones. So I said, will Thursday be severe? Well, it could be for some of those coast mountains, for some of those places that don't generally get severe. And again, Friday, we're seeing the same sort of thing. We're seeing that fairly high convective available potential energy reading more or less up the coast, but then we're going to see a bit of a jump as well into some of these local places like here in Wells. So I'm looking at Friday being a day where if I'm out by the Bower, and I might see a good thunderstorm show again. So circle that on my calendar. Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, okay. So you get the picture here. High Cape values and areas that don't ever see high Cape values. So prepare yourself southeast or southwest. Prepare yourself coastal British Columbia for what could be an outbreak of very large, very strong thunderstorms. Perhaps not the worst ones that have ever happened, but ones that'll be strong enough to throw out a lot of lightning bolts. And we're very concerned about where this is going, where this trend is happening. We'll have a look at fire activity in a second here, but it just gives you a picture that often I've said, like when we see any convective available potential energy values in BC, we're like, oh, look. But we're seeing that as like the trend for the next week, that somewhere, everywhere, especially coastal BC, is going to see some of that 23s, 25s, stuff like that. Down soon, not extreme fire weather, but fire weather next week as well. And still some warm days ahead. Still some warm days through the weekend coming up. We're just going to go going backwards here and having a look. So we'll go forwards instead. Thursday, tomorrow, very warm day across southern British Columbia. That heat warning will continue for the coast, I'm pretty sure. Friday, pretty warm through parts of central BC, but you're going to see some of that temperature going to take a kick by the thunderstorm activity on Friday. So places that see lots of cloud cover, you're not going to see as much heat as well, but that heat is also getting fought through by a little bit of a cool front moving through, triggering this. So we're looking at Sunday, still hot. Not the craziest heat we've ever seen, but enough to trigger thunderstorms, enough to help keep fire activity aggressive. Yes, so we have 24 new fires in the last 24 hours, 9 fires of note, 350 altogether. So that's one more on the 9 fires of note, one new fire of note. 70 are currently being held, 137 under control, 134 under control at this time. Now have a quick look at some of the fire behavior in BC. Our big one down there south of Ashcroft, it's moving into the hills more and more. It seems like every time we look at some of these scans. So I've been a while since you've seen any fire activity show up on firms down near the highway more. It's been moving into the mountains. So that's good news for them. Our guy down by Manning is looking it looks pretty hot. It looks like it's doing some things. So it's probably pretty visible fire with pretty visible columns. I'm sure it's got a big concern for lots of people, but we've seen a lot of fires up in this area the last bunch of years, and it is a big mountainous area that there is room for fire to move around in there and do its own thing and not necessarily affect people all that much. But I don't know the situation there. You better be checking if you're in that area. We do have some concerning fire activity down by Armstrong. It seems like this one's blown up pretty big. Pictures last night showed fire pretty close to properties, pretty close to people who I know that live down in this area. So I'm concerned for them, especially because it's not on the right side of things. You really want this fire to be, here maybe if you are an Armstrong. You'd like to see it on your east side, not so much on your west side. That's because prevailing winds tend to come from this direction or from the south, right? So, when you have fires that are down in this sort of corner of your town, it's very concerning always. And this is just a little bit north of, so hoping for the best, but lots of properties here nonetheless, right? So There's some evacuation alerts and orders are going on right now for sure for those areas. Yeah, going over to the Kootenays where things have been very bad and doesn't seem like they're going to get a break because they got lots of lightning still coming. Still, seems to me that the Kootenays are in trouble right now. Uh, some of this fire activity has been pretty hot, pretty aggressive, been threatening the towns in the area. So we're really hoping that something happens for our friends in Slocan, right? We really love our friends in Slocan. Past Santiago, out past Utsa Lake, into the Tweedsmuir Park. Very big fire moving throughout there. So it can throw embers long ways, but mostly we usually let these ones kind of just do their thing and burn. And of course, the slide did breach at the Chilcotin River. I think everyone knew that. I was working fire, so I had no idea. This is just some sort of clips from Geology Hub. It's a great channel on YouTube that I watch all the time, and he will give you lots of information about this kind of stuff, not just here, but all over the world when these kind of things happen. So this was one that he found very interesting and kept his eyes on. And more or less, his predictions have all sort of come true. Although he's saying now that that wildfire may have played less of a role in that water moving through. The whole hillside's been sliding. In fact, there seems to be sort of a Chilcotin name, that word that for the area that means like slides across the river, more or less, right? So you can tell by some of the geology, some of the structure of the hillsides. This is a place that's slid many times. So the good news was it kind of did a little bit of both. It breached fast, but not as fast as it could have. So that became very positive. So we're very happy that, I mean, there's been some properties destroyed. I mean, Pothole Ranch, the entire section of the valley is just washed right out. And there's still threat as this water's moving through and debris is moving through. There's threat to the salmon. It's not a finished story there. We may have more slides still in the area. So we're concerned about what that can mean for our friends. Anyways, that is more or less what I got for you today. Please hit share and like and subscribe and tell a friend. Help me grow this channel. I'm trying to make this so more sustainable for myself, so I can be a better and better weatherman. As much as I love working wildfires, I feel like I'm doing the public more good sitting in this chair right here a lot of the times, right? As opposed to going out and mopping up some hotspots. So that's my favorite job in the world. Nonetheless, you know, the more support that comes in for the channel, the less I'm going to be leaving here. And I feel like I've missed so much because I've been working for the last 3 weeks. And so many times I wanted to be able to tell you things, and it was just impossible. So many times I couldn't keep up. So many times I've got literally 150 fucking messages from people that I haven't answered yet. Okay, and probably won't, because that's what it was like when you have no cell phone service for days at a time and you're in the bush and you can't keep up. But people, and you tell them, everybody, I can't take any more messages. I can't keep up. Well, okay. Ding, 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 ding. But anyways, I appreciate that everyone's trying their best out there. Join Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers if you haven't. Patreon.com/Interior Weather Watchers. Hit share, subscribe, tell your friends. Be safe out there. Circle the calendar days because we got severe thunderstorms and more coming to BC. Bye-bye for now.